So I have talked on this channel about my love affair with NBA Jam, going all the way back to 1993 when I played it for the first time in Worcester, Massachusetts, to walking to the Fairfield Mall in Chicopee in a snowstorm to pick up my Genesis copy of NBA Jam. Unfortunately, it's not this particular copy, but this is one of my more prized possessions because it has autographs from Sal DeVita and Tim Kitzrow on it. So I don't even play this one. This one hangs on my wall in my bedroom. But the Genesis version is the one that I got because it had battery backup, and I didn't really feel like writing down passwords. From what I understand, there are a couple of different sound bites in this particular version. It's a little bit grainier looking, not quite as colorful, but it still handles very well. The only thing about this game that I wish we would change would just be the Genesis controller, because the Super Nintendo controller has the two turbo buttons or the two L and R triggers along the top of the controller, and the Genesis didn't have that. So I kind of had to do some finger gymnastics in order to make the game do what I wanted it to, but it didn't matter. I played this game for hours and hours and hours on end. And yes, I do have the Super Nintendo version as well. That's this guy right here. I believe that I showed that on this channel. This is the copy that has the NBA Jam poster in there as well. This version of the game uses passwords for progress, which I always found annoying, so I really didn't play this particular version of the game that much. But still, it's nice to have it, especially in its complete form. And yeah, I have like the Game Boy version of NBA Jam here that shows you how much I like the series. And geez, I even have the NBA Jam Tiger handheld. That's this guy right here. So it's obvious that I have a lot of love for the original NBA Jam. Then in 1994 in arcades, we got NBA Jam Tournament Edition, which was a souped-up version of the game with more players, different statistics, different hidden unlockables, and more. It was more of what we liked. The only thing about NBA Jam Tournament Edition that I didn't like was the fact that you couldn't break the backboard in that particular version of the game. And from what I understand, that was an NBA decision. That was not Midway's decision. The NBA didn't want to glorify the shattering of backboards, so they took it out of the arcade version and subsequently out of the home versions of the game. Now, unlike the NBA Jam coming out for consoles, I actually got the Super Nintendo version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition first, and I don't have that complete, unfortunately. That is really difficult to get complete these days. I have it just cartridge only, but we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of NBA Jam Tournament Edition's release for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis today. Today is February 23rd, 2020. So 25 years ago today, this hit stores. This is a sealed, and I'm not sure whether this is resealed or not, but it's sealed enough. I got this off of eBay. This is a sealed copy of NBA Jam Tournament Edition, again released on February 23rd, 1995. Here's the back of the case. And there's a lot of smaller writing, so I'll read what's there. 1 to 4 players, so it did use a multiplayer adapter. You can see Midway and Acclaim both responsible for this here. I believe that Iguana, it was responsible for the home version of this. There were some additions here that I wasn't really a big fan of, like 5-point shots, so it was kind of like the Rock and Jock basketball game that MTV used to show. But everything else looked very much like the arcade, at least as much as we could expect 16-bit systems to be able to accomplish at that time. So it says on the back of the case here, NBA Jam Tournament Edition brings you more senses-shattering slam-dunking excitement than ever. More than twice as many NBA superstars, more than double the secret characters, hotspots, Super Jam power-ups, auto-stat backup, and oh my, 9 all-new rim-rattling slam dunks, plus all the original dunks as well. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, it's on fire. So we have Monster Jam, same team matchups, new rookie and all-star teams. That's definitely a plus. Rocket across the court with the super slam dunk, substitutions after every quarter, and go for the 5-point shot from the hot spot. Now, the substitutions after every quarter was a big change. Before, you played with the same 2 players through all 4 quarters, and now, based on injury statistics or just based on preference or based on how the other team was playing, you could swap in and out players depending on how they were playing. For example, if you need to play more of a 3-point type game, you would bring more 3-point, maybe bring in a three-point shooter from the bench, or if you were looking to play more inside or do a lot more dunking, you'd go with characters with a better dunk rating. So you could mix and match as you went. Now, this particular version of the game and the Super Nintendo version of the game don't really go crazy on the injury statistic as much as the PlayStation version of the game does. And that's really the big complaint about the PlayStation version that I have found. There have been other bugs with the PlayStation version mentioned, such as the fact that the difficulties are reversed. So very easy is very hard, easy is hard, and it kind of goes backwards and forwards. But the other thing about the PlayStation version that always bothered me was the fact that the injury statistic really did slow you down. If you kept pushing players down, and that's how you increase their injury stat, if you keep knocking them down or shoving them, the injury stat goes up, and the higher that goes, the slower the player goes. So the strategy with the PlayStation version is just to keep shoving players, and then when their injury stat gets up to like 15, 20, 22, they're so slow on the court that you can just dribble around them and dunk at will. The Genesis and the Super Nintendo versions of the game, from what I remember, and I haven't played them recently, which is my bad, and I really need to make time to do that, but from what I understand, they don't really capitalize on the injury statistic that much, and from what I understand, the arcade version really didn't either. So that was really a PlayStation, maybe a Saturn thing. I haven't played the Saturn version of the game. So I'm a little worried that this isn't necessarily factory sealed because the hang tab is covered with the seal, so I have a feeling that this was resealed. But nonetheless, we're going to take the seal or the wrap off of a game, and we're going to see what's on the inside. So, without further ado, because I'm still recovering from being sick, so I am going to try and make this particular video 10 minutes long or so instead of going super long. Hopefully, I will be back to normal in another week or two. There we go. So we're taking the seal off. There we go. And yes, this is the Genesis version, so it has the hang tab. You can hang it on your wall, which I might do with this copy, as I do have another copy of this that I actually use. When we open up the game, we do see a couple of things that are, maybe this is factory sealed. I'm not sure. So this is what you see when you first open it up. You see this orange piece of paper, and then you see the NBA Jam cartridge. And we'll talk about the cartridge here, or we'll talk about what else is on the inside here in just a second. I'm going to take all that stuff out. There we go. I mean, this looks legitimate, but I can't really tell. So, what we have on the inside here, the first thing that we have is we have this read carefully before you lace up the shoes warning right here. Special auto stat feature. Your NBA Jam Tournament Edition for Sega Genesis contains a special auto stat save feature to track each player's record, ranking, winning percentage, and more. There is a warning here. You must first initialize or set up your cartridge by playing 2 warm-up games using special initials in the single-player mode. This is a one-time setup that does not need to be repeated each time you power up your Genesis. Once initialized, up to 4 players can compete in the action. So, you have to start the game, enter head-to-head mode, then you select initials, and you type in XXX. The screen will display no record. At the team selection screen, you can select any team, play 1 complete warm-up game, all 4 quarters, then return to the main menu, select head-to-head. At the enter initials for record keeping, hit yes and press start. Enter the initials NBA. The screen will display no record again. Select the team and players as before and press start. Play your second warm-up game. And now your cartridge has been initialized, allowing you to save any game provided you enter your initials. Remember, do not use the initials XXX or NBA. There is no need to repeat this procedure every time you power up your Genesis. You can talk about checking your standings, deleting your standings, I should say. In the event that you accidentally delete all records, simply reinitialize, starting with step 1 under initializing your auto stat. So this is interesting. I don't remember doing this, but that's something I'm going to have to try when I actually play this. There's even a tip hotline at 516-624-9300. You can call the Acclaim hotline if you need to. So that is pretty interesting. We also have a poster, and I love posters, you know that. And I'm going to try and show you the poster. Unfortunately, my webcam doesn't really get it all here. I already have this poster on my wall in my room, so I'm not going to put this up anytime soon. But the poster has Maximum Carnage, Nigel Mansell's IndyCar, Rage in the Cage. Mortal Kombat is here. Another Midway game right there. Virtual Bart, the Itchy and Scratchy game. So, yeah, I love posters like these. I really should put this. Maybe I'll put this up in the office here. We also have a warranty card. Looks just like that. NBA Jam T.E. Genesis. Name, phone number, street address, city, state, zip. Who purchased this game? Who plays the game the most? Why was this game purchased for player? Self-purchase. That would be my answer. How did you hear about this game? Friend, radio, TV, movie theater, newspaper, magazine ad, game review, in-store, high school gym boards, because of reasons. How would you rate the gameplay from a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate the graphics? Again, 1 to 10. Which sports magazines do you read on a regular basis? Sports Illustrated, Inside Sports, NBA Inside Stuff, Sporting News, Beckett's, Pro Football Weekly, Baseball Digest, Sport, or Other. What game systems are in your household? Remember, this is 1995. NES, Super NES, Genesis, Game Gear, Game Boy, Sega CD. No 3DO, interestingly, and of course, no Neo Geo. And this was before the PlayStation and the Saturn were released, so that's understandable why those aren't there. Did you rent this game before purchase? I most certainly did not. I bought it straight away. Which magazines and comic books do you read on a regular basis? Game Pro? Check. Marvel Comics? Nyeh. DC Comics? Nyeh. Electronic Gaming Monthly? Yep. Bought that one. Nintendo Power? Yep. Bought that one. Sega Visions? I wish I had subscribed, but I did not. Video Games and Computer Entertainment, a magazine I would love to collect, but those are starting to get a little bit pricey on eBay. Game Players? Check. Die Hard, which would be Die Hard Game Fan? Check. Boys Life? Ugh. Valiant Comics? Ugh. And Other. And then you can leave your comments. Of course, you did have to place a stamp, so you had to put a stamp on it when you were going to mail it in. There was no promise of any prizes, but you could certainly mail that in to register your game. And finally, we have the NBA Jam Tournament Edition instruction manual from Acclaim with Spider-Man on the back here, and it is just Spider-Man is being advertised on the back. When we open up the manual is in black and white. It is not in color, but that is okay. The manual walks you through everything you need to know in terms of the game, talking about all of the different ratings, speed, three-point, dunk, pass, power, steal, block, and clutch. That is certainly important. 27 NBA teams plus a rookie team. That is awesome. You can customize the game, including turning computer assistance on or off, which is bull, because even if you turn it off, the computer still has that rubber band AI that keeps coming back. Controller figure configuration, tag mode. So special features. This is something that's new in NBA Jam Tournament Edition. You can turn on tournament mode, which I always do. Shot clock, overtime, hot spots, which I never use. Those are lame. Power-up icons, again, those are lame. I don't use those. I give credit to Acclaim and Iguana for trying to spice things up a little bit, and it is optional, so I don't blame them for putting it in, but I'm more of a purist when it comes to this game, so I don't use those. The power-up icons include three-point shot increase, Monster Jam from anywhere on the court by collecting the D, overall speed increase, power increase, unlimited turbo with the T, on fire by getting the F, and the bomb, which is B, flattens everyone on the court except the player who collects it. So that's kind of like an auto shove. That's pretty interesting. There's also juice mode here. Turning up the juice increases all players' overall speed by a factor of 1 to 4. Hitting turbo when your player's been juiced up to a factor of 4, that's just insane. That's basically like Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It's just cranking things all the way up. Hotspot or power-up icon games will not count toward your season record, which is good. Then it just talks about the basics with NBA Jam, how to play the game, which is very obvious. It is a 2-on-2 basketball game with a lot of dunking, some defense, some steals. Three-pointers are kind of on and off depending on who you pick, and more. And the idea is to play through all of the teams in the game in order to unlock these secrets and more. And there are plenty of hidden players in the game, more than I could probably comment on in this particular video. And man, remember I said it was only going to go 10 minutes. I guess it's going to go 15. So yeah, NBA Jam is awesome. NBA Jam Tournament Edition is equally awesome. maybe just a shade less awesome in my opinion because it's not the original. And if we were ranking all of the NBA Jam games, while I put NBA Jam first, believe it or not, NBA Hang Time is actually in like second place game, followed by NBA Jam Tournament Edition here, and then NBA Showtime. If you're asking me what my rankings are, which you probably weren't before that before that particular answer. But happy 25th anniversary to NBA Jam Tournament Edition for home consoles, for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. I'm hoping to make some time to play that in the coming days. In the meantime, my friends, thank you very much for watching this episode of Unsealed. I really do appreciate it. And until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll do this again really soon.